there guys, and welcome back to another FPV Guy video. I'm at InterDrone 2018, and right now I'm at the SENTERA, and that's of course SENTERA.com booth. And the first thing I see coming past here is an Inspire 2, but up in front of it I find that there is a dual sensor camera on a 2-axis gimbal that is mated directly into the proprietary DJI gimbal mount right here. So it's basically hanging underneath here. It's got probably a GPS receiver on each side, because what they're doing is they're embedding location data and multispectral data, but it's ready to fly package essentially. And so this here is a fully integrated DJI product. It's also available on the Matrice or on the Inspire 1 probably. But right here with me is Todd from SENTERA. And Todd, tell me a little bit about your sensors.
Sure. So the sensor that was on the Inspire 2 package there is what we call our double 4K sensor. And here's another copy of one of those. It's a single camera. It's about the size of a GoPro, but we design and manufacture it at SENTERA in our facility in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It has 2 imagers on board. They're 2 4K high-resolution imagers, and one is set up to be a full-color camera just for like traditional mapping of color applications, and the other is set up to be a multispectral camera, and it would generate what we call NDVI, or Normalized Difference Vegetation Index, and that's basically a plant health index. It's a measure of plant health, and we use it in agricultural applications all across the globe. And so we've integrated this camera onto the Lock and Go gimbal that we just showed you on the Inspire 1. It does work on the Inspire 2. It does work on the Inspire 1. And all the Matrice platforms as well, because it's the same kind of mechanical mount. And we have another version of this that we've integrated with the Matrice 200 through their onboard SDK and Skyport package.
Nice.
And it's another gimbal. It's a more tightly integrated system, and we actually have full control access and video that comes down in real time as you're flying. So that's another version of this. So we've made a family of sensors and a family of payload packages that we've done to integrate onto different drone platforms, and we've been pretty successful integrating them onto the DJI family, and they're the most popular drones in the world, so we're pretty happy to be able to do that. We can also take the same sensor and put it on a Phantom. And we mount that kind of on the back of a Phantom on a little bracket that mounts on, and as you fly around it automatically takes its own pictures and geotags all the pictures, just as you mentioned.
Yeah, so it's basically a completely standalone sensor on the Phantom.
That's right. Yep.
So you could probably buy that sensor and stick it on anything that flies.
That's the idea.
That sensor package.
Yeah, that's the idea. So we design and manufacture the sensors. We'll sell them as a solution on a complete drone. So you could buy a Phantom from us pre-integrated with that, or you could buy an Inspire package with the gimbal, or if you just want to buy the sensors themselves,
I'm going to reach behind you
and install them on your own, you can do that as well.
Because when you're saying you do turnkey solutions,
that's right.
You have, somebody accidentally called this a disco. Don't do that anywhere around Todd, because he will set you in your place.
That's right.
This is not a disco, but with the sensor package, we're looking at a $7,000 bird here.
That's right. Yeah, $7,000 to $8,000 kind of depends. Yeah.
But that means you're ready to go out and map and surveil a very large amount of real estate with this thing.
That's right. So this is a drone we call the PHX that we've developed in-house and manufacture in ours, and it's a turnkey package that includes the same double 4K sensor on board.
Right.
And it's hand launch, all electric, rugged EPP foam, but we sell it as a turnkey package that includes the integrated sensor, 2 batteries, charger, a rugged hard case, ready to fly.
How much real estate do I cover on one battery?
So one battery will fly up to about 500 to 700 acres, kind of depending on what your settings are and how much wind there is. The one advantage to the fixed wing is it flies a lot faster as well. So where a lot of where we're from in the upper Midwest of the United States, the farm fields are divided up into these big square blocks or rectangular blocks, and they're very organized. Sometimes they use these big round circles because of the irrigation. So we can fly one of those areas in about a half an hour, just with one flight, and map the entire thing. So if you compare a fixed wing like the PHX to a traditional quadcopter, you're doing anywhere from 2 to 4 times faster coverage rate because of the speed and the altitude that you're able to fly with this.
So this is really is farmers buying this or is service providers buying this?
I'd say it's a mix of both. Primarily the way the industry going is into service providers and more professional drone pilots. Of course, we always have customers that are the farmers who are maybe geek out a little bit about this technology or want to try something new or just want to be on the leading edge. So we work with a lot of them.
So when the farmer guy comes and say, hey, I want one of these things, you're happy to sell him one?
We are, if we know what they're doing, and we often will say if you're just getting into drones, start with something easy like a Phantom.
Okay.
But in the fixed wing world, we've done a lot of work to make this. We think it's the easiest to operate fixed wing on the market right now. So very easy to automatically plan the mission, very easy to hand launch. It comes in and does an automatic landing when it's done.
But Todd, so we know farmers need this. Because Todd is a really, really super busy guy. Trying to get to actually talk to him is a little bit like getting an interview with the king.
Well,
actually, the king is probably easier.
Yeah, it might be. But it's been a busy show for us, and it's been a good time.
It's very busy, and I see forest managers talking to you.
That's right.
What do they do with this stuff?
So in forestry, it's becoming kind of a newer application where they're trying to do species identification as a hot topic of invasive species that really all around the world. That's an issue, but or it might be forestry management, whether they're going out and logging or cutting down certain areas, or trying to work the earth to match a certain profile. And again, they're using our technology and our cameras to either quantify how much plant material is there, sometimes what type of plant material, whether it's one type of species or another. And in that area, you're starting to get into more in the GIS world and people who are more into data science and working with more advanced tools like ArcGIS and those type of things.
But I think that's the other customer category I've seen standing in line here.
Okay.
Is fire people.
Sure, yeah.
And, I mean, they all come up and they look at you and say, can you show me the biomass?
That's right, yeah. So and wildfires has become a bigger and bigger issue around the world, really. And so what is causing the wildfires? Well, it's the stuff that burns on the ground, the scrub brush or the grasses and the rest. And the issue is almost more because when we have big rain events, and climate change is a part of this, so more moisture in the air, and then you get a bigger rain event, and now all of a sudden you get a lot more stuff growing. And when that dries out later in the year, you have a lot more fuel to burn. Everybody thinks about using drones.
How can you help them?
So the idea is that early on, when after a rain and everything's growing up, you can fly around areas and quantify and measure how much plant material is growing there. And that's where these plant health sensors like this double 4K sensor works really well, is that it's looking at different wavelengths of light that correlate to how much plant material is growing.
And I'm not even sure if it's the fire department that needs that or if it's simply the county.
Yeah, it could be either or it might be Department of Natural Resources or other groups that are
for the county, essentially.
That's right. Yep.
But so if we're going to make a prudent plan, it's not a matter of flying now in August. It's really a matter of having a guy that takes this out and maybe fly 3-4 times a year.
That's right. Yeah, and then probably at different key points of, say, the rainy season or the summer season, or different parts where up until eventually we're getting into wildfire seasons, right? So certain times of the year. So you want to lead up to that and be prepared and be proactive. Go out to certain areas where maybe there's populated areas and put in buffer strips and plan that out instead of being
based on the data you get
based on the data you're getting from our multispectral imagers that can quantify how much plant material is there.
And what we're really getting here is, of course, when somebody goes out in the field and look and go, the grass is pretty high, we know that, but if we fly this for maybe a full week to cover all of the county, this is going to give us information about the volume, how much are we looking at, and you might not know that it's in the valley somewhere.
That's right, yeah, or over the hill, or wherever.
And you're getting actually quantifiable info about how much you have.
That's right.
So, fire department, is it SENTERA.com?
SENTERA.com, SENTERA, that's right, yep.
Alrighty then. Now, I noticed you have a sensor you haven't talked about. This one here with the 4 cameras. I mean, I like cameras. I want the 4 camera one. Why should I not have a 4 camera one?
That's right. So everybody sees our 4 camera sensor and people think
a 4 camera.
More is better. And in some cases that could be true, but we've put a lot of effort in trying to get more technology into a single lens or maybe even a double lens. But we do sell a 4 camera array that we target to a lot of research customers.
So it's scientific purposes,
scientific
really.
Measurement, and we can build them custom spec. And
I don't need this for my farm.
You don't need this for your farm, but
I don't have one. He knew that.
But you know, some professors at your local university that are doing agricultural research or maybe wildlife management research, and they might be looking for some specific things that are applicable to their specific problem, and they're trying to solve a new problem, so they might
have an invasive grass or something
That's right.
that has a reflectivity that's just so many nanometers, essentially.
Right, and so then we can build this custom camera that will have one imager set up just for that, and another imager set up for another frequency.
I think that's really the important thing you're saying here, the custom, because you're telling me pretty much all of these units,
all of these
custom devices.
All of what we call our quad sensor, which is a 4-camera array, are custom built to custom specifications.
So this customer tells you this is what we need.
Then we have one standard price. So it's one standard price, unless it's really exotic, but it's around $5,000 or so for this sensor.
For a 4-camera sensor.
That's right.
And normally one of them
spec.
would be visible light, and then 3 of them would be custom wavelengths?
Yeah, often one of them would be visible, but not always. And
Okay.
it's, sometimes they're ultraviolet, and sometimes it's different pieces of infrared light that we can't see, but might be interesting.
And
for
it basically saves those images out with geotagging?
Every image is geotagged with its position, its altitude, and the yaw, pitch, and roll. So we know the aircraft and how it's flying
Direction
and
down.
which direction, how to project it on the ground.
So that basically means that you could use your package, but you could throw it into a university-developed database.
Sure.
To do whatever you want with it.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And then the idea is that as time goes on and some of these interesting applications would come out where some researcher has developed a specific sensing algorithm with certain wavelengths of light that attack a very challenging invasive species problem, or maybe it's a challenging pest problem or some other issue, whether it's on a farm field or in the natural environment. But then we can design a smaller, lower cost camera that targets that specific issue, and we're only looking at the specific cameras.
But while we're
required.
talking about saving money, Farmer John is going to need some software.
That's right. So when you buy a sensor or drone from SENTERA, it comes with our software platform that we call Field Agent.
Okay.
And Field Agent has a few different components. There's a mobile application if you want to fly a quadcopter on your smartphone. There's a desktop, laptop application that you use to make maps. And then there's a cloud backup service, and it's useful. It's more than just backup, it's sharing and collaborating with the data. So our package right now, it's first year's free when you buy a system from us or a sensor from us. And after that, it's about $250 a year, or about $20 a month.
And I gotta tell you, I heard a couple of guys standing here, they're like, $250, can I just buy the software? I'm like, they don't realize that this kind of software is usually more than $250 a year. It's like move the decimal.
That's right. Yeah, it really is. We're an order of magnitude more affordable, I'd say, than a lot of others in the market.
A decimal.
That's right.
Compared to a lot of other agricultural solid packages. There's packages that's not really very useful.
So what SENTERA's focus is how to get the technology easy to use, accessible, and a big part of that is being affordable. So that we can drive adoption of this type of technology, both in agriculture and in other, natural resource management applications.
Todd, thank you so much.
Well, thanks for
Appreciate it. Thank you for taking time to talk to me.
Oh, no problem.
You can see I'm kind of hanging on to this because I love fixed wings.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is nice. I gotta tell you guys, they actually have a flexible pitot tube right up on top here.
That's right.
Meaning that unlike the Disco, for instance, they're actually flying to airspeed, which means if they get a gust of wind from the rear, that GPS is not gonna tell it to go slow and stall out of the air.
Right.
So there's a lot of real features in this. And you could buy a Disco AG for about $5,000, but it doesn't have a lot of the features here. Or, for that matter, the software.
That comes with the software, it flies faster for a longer period of time, and it's really designed to be a real productivity tool. It's not a toy drone. It's like going out and getting mapping. It's a mapping drone. So,
Awesomeness. Thank you so much for your time,
well,
sir.
Thanks a lot.